A human veteran saw a female dragon living alone in an old spaceship. What he did will surprise you. The Meridian had been drifting for 40 years. Captain James Reeves moved through its corridors with practiced silence, salvage torch mounted on his shoulder, scanning for anything of value. The decommissioned colony ship was a graveyard of obsolete technology, stripped repeatedly by scavengers like himself. He found her in the hydroponics bay. She was enormous, easily 20 meters from snout to tail tip, her scales a deep crimson that caught his torchlight like rubies. Her eyes were closed and her breathing was shallow, barely perceptible. She didn't move as he approached. Reeves had served 17 years in the Terran Defense Corps. He'd seen combat, dealt with xenofauna, understood biology at a level most civilians never achieved. What he was looking at violated every taxonomic database he'd ever accessed. Dragons weren't real. They were mythology, fantasy, evolutionary impossibilities in an era when evolution was guided by genetic optimization. Yet here one lay, curled among the dead plant beds, her scales dull from dehydration. Her tag was still legible. Designation, Chimera 7, Genetic Engineering Bay 4. 2087, she was a military prototype, something the Defense Corps had abandoned before full deployment. Before, probably, they realized she was too intelligent to be controllable. She was dying. Reeves could have called it in. Salvage rights, military surplus acquisition protocols. They'd come with extraction teams and containment vessels. She'd end up in a laboratory, studied, weaponized, or euthanized depending on budget allocations. He'd seen how governments treated sentient anomalies. Instead, he activated the hydroponic system. The pumps groaned to life after 4 decades of dormancy. Water began trickling through the cracked irrigation lines. He found the nutrient storage, 3 massive tanks, still sealed. He calibrated the mixture by memory and instinct, feeding concentrated minerals back into the system. The dragon didn't stir. Reeves spent the next week restoring the bay. He patched the hull micro breaches, replaced corroded seals, rerouted power from the auxiliary systems. He rationed his personal supplies, high-protein concentrates, mineral supplements, water purifiers. He cooked nutrient-dense broths in salvage containers and left them near her head. On the 8th day, she opened her eyes. They were yellow gold, intelligent, and immediately focused on him with unmistakable awareness. She didn't move, just watched as he continued his work, monitoring the systems, adjusting settings. He never made sudden movements, never reached toward her, just existed in her space, competent and present. "I'm not taking you anywhere," he said quietly, the first words he'd spoken in a week. "You're sick. I'm fixing that." She didn't respond, but something in her posture shifted. Her breathing deepened. Over the following weeks, Chimera 7 recovered. She began moving within the bay, her massive frame surprisingly graceful despite the confinement. She consumed everything Reeves brought, the broths, fresh water, vitamin supplements synthesized from the ship's medical stores. Her scales regained their luster. Her movements became stronger. Reeves realized she was communicating, not with sound, with body language, the arch of her neck, the curl of her tail, the positioning of her wings. He started to understand her vocabulary of intention. When she turned her head away from food, it meant something different than when she lowered it in submission. When her scales darkened slightly, it indicated pain or discomfort in specific areas. He treated her wounds, old laser burns, shrapnel scarring, evidence of combat trauma. Her right wing had been partially severed and had healed incorrectly. He couldn't fix that, but he could ensure infection never took hold. 3 months after he'd found her, Chimera 7 was functional, restored, healthier than she likely had been in years. Reeves sat in the corner of the hydroponics bay, watching her move through the revitalized space, and understood what surprised him most. She didn't leave. She could have. The bay's pressure seals were restored. The ship had limited navigation capability. She was a military prototype with enough enhanced cognition to pilot basic systems. He'd accidentally left the launch sequence codes in her vicinity during repairs. But she stayed. When he gathered his salvage equipment to depart, she positioned herself in the bay entrance, not blocking him aggressively, but present. Waiting. I can't stay, he said. My life is salvage routes and contracts. I'm not equipped to care for something like you. She lowered her massive head until her snout was level with his eyes. Her breath was warm, scented with mineral salts and something organic he couldn't identify. In that moment, he understood she wasn't asking him to stay. She was asking him to come back. Reeves left the Meridian, filed a salvage report claiming the bay was structurally unsound and toxic, and marked the coordinates private. He started taking contracts near that sector, routes that circled back, excuses to return. What surprised him most wasn't that a dragon existed. It was that after 17 years of warfare, of hardened cynicism, of believing connection was a liability, he'd found something worth the risk of carrying, and that she, engineered in a lab to be humanity's weapon, had chosen vulnerability over escape. They were both obsolete things, he thought, but they'd found each other anyway.